Welcome to another CEO Wisdom Podcast Agency edition with Natalie, Henley. She is a CEO at Volume 9, and we're going to talk about AI agencies, AI content, and everything in between today. Natalie, can you introduce yourself? Tell me a bit more about Volume 9.
Yeah. So my name is Natalie Henley. I own a company called Volume 9 Digital. We are based in Denver, Colorado. And our kind of section of the world is we work on clients to build their organic presence. So SEO, organic social media, content, those types of things. Not that there's anything wrong with ads or direct response. That's just not our section of the world.
AI, what case studies do you have for SEO precisely? How can I scale my own SEO almost on autopilot without investing much of my time?
Yep, absolutely. So I think right now in artificial intelligence, it's interesting because, I think everybody is testing. We're all trying to figure out, can I use AI to write content? To what extent can I do that? And, I think the case studies we're all seeing tend to be the really extreme versions. Either somebody, started using a tool like ChatGPT to start producing content and they saw big traffic increases over a 6 or 9 month period, or conversely, they did it and they saw it tank their rankings. So I think there's a big misconception right now about ChatGPT as if I use a tool like ChatGPT or Jasper or one of these predictive language models to develop content for SEO, it's bad, it's good. And I think that the smart agencies, what we are realizing is that it's about how you're using these tools. And the smartest way to think about it is not to just let AI take the wheel, but as much as possible to develop a process where you can really speed up your content production, but not put it all the way on autopilot. So I think a really interesting one, we saw a case study from 2022 was CNET when they were using Jasper to use their content. And you can even see it when you look in a third party tool like SEMrush, they tanked their rankings because everything was fine until one of these helpful content updates came rolling. And we realized they had copyright information, the content was shallow. And so CNET created a policy of no AI. But just like you see every case study like that, you see other case studies where brands are implementing it correctly. It also doesn't help that right now Google, who is the dominant market share when we're thinking about SEO, like we all say SEO and organic rankings, but Google's the search engine we're watching. They're constantly changing. Like even last week, they changed their webmaster guidelines on whether you can use AI generated content or not. And so you've got this undercurrent of these big algorithm updates that they're making. You've got them launching Bard, them rushing towards search generative experience. But at the same time, what they don't want you doing, ideally, is not using ChatGPT because now that's a competitive tool because it's owned by Microsoft. So it's an interesting undercurrent here of even if it's okay today, will it be okay tomorrow? Because Google's got really bad history of really trying to tank competitors on things like this.
I believe you on that. And why have I never been bullish about SEO? Is it just because it takes more time and requires more patience? VS like PPC or cold email that I've scaled and generate 100 meetings per week now?
Yep. I mean, that's exactly it. I mean, I think all of it is when I say SEO, I think for me, really what it comes to is, marketing is in a lot of ways what it's always been, right? How does my brand communicate? Who are we? Why are we better? You know, back in the day, a lot of that used to happen through a sales team, right? Of, okay, the person who's coming door to door selling a Hoover vacuum cleaner, they're the one that's really like talking about the brand. Or we used to be able to do this on a radio ad, right? So digital's changed. And really it becomes this all roads, really come to your website instead of having the opportunity to talk to someone or having the opportunity to just sort of grab someone's attention. A lot of your marketing, like even in a cold outreach, the chances that they're going to kind of check you out before they respond are pretty high. Is this a real company? Do I trust them? How do I feel about this? How is their tone coming across? So we've switched to this kind of world where all roads kind of lead to the website. So when we say SEO and think about that, what we're really saying at fundamental is, are you doing a good job in your content of explaining who you are, why you matter, what you can do for somebody, what you want them to do next? And that just goes part and parcel with SEO and growing an organic brand. You might as well do a good job on those things too. But great SEO is really doing a great job of that. And it's the same with social media. Doing a great job in social media is really understanding your brand ethos, communicating it well, connecting it well. And then all these other channels then start to work really well. Then absolutely you can ramp up paid search, you can ramp up cold outreach. Then there's a lot of bridges you can start building to your marketing. But if you don't have that core stuff set, it makes it, it just makes the investment into something like pay per click. You have to invest a lot more to get out of it because you're driving people to a site that's not converting, to a brand that doesn't make sense to them, that they can't find themselves in.
Right. And what are other ways that you're leaning out your agency with AI and increasing your margins?
Yep. So for us, I mean, I think that there's on this concept of increasing margins, I think the biggest thing is to not like what we're doing is we're putting a big line of, is this good for the clients? I think for us, the worst thing you can do is increase the margin and use AI and then damage a client's brand. So I think for us, we're being really, really careful about how we do this. So for us, it's one about experimenting and letting clients know we're experimenting, and kind of ramping things up, but always having a human sort of involved. But thinking about where can a human be involved, where can AI be involved, and really dial in those processes. And we're finding that, hey, what we don't want to do is write a piece of content in 5 minutes, but a piece of content that used to take us 4 hours, now we can take an hour. And it's still really high quality, unique, good content. And that's kind of what we're aspiring to as an agency is, yes, it increases the margin, but we don't want to go so far that we're all of a sudden creating content that's either going to damage a brand or not creating the value that we're used to creating.
Love it. And when it comes to agents, when do you think we'll be able to deploy an SDR agent? When do you think we'll be able to deploy a closer agent, a customer service agent, an account manager agent? When do you think we'll be able to have those in our agencies instead of hiring employees? We'll pay this AI company $100 so that this AI agent can learn and can be deployed for us.
That's a great question. Could be right now. Who knows? As we're talking, some new tools probably launched that does this for us for $200 a month. It's changing so fast. So I mean, so it's hard to say that, but I mean, I would say that we are. I think the world is going through radical change right now. I think in digital marketing, we're just right on the bleeding edge of it. And I think a lot of people are saying, "Oh, this isn't going to touch me." But I mean, it's hard to imagine that AI isn't going to touch every industry here over the next few years. So I think a big part of it is, in a lot of ways, we're being forced to be trailblazers, what we're used to it in digital marketing. And then, when it comes to AI, it's about what is special about your agency. And so if you are structured as an agency right now where you could train AI to do what an account manager is doing, I would really argue, okay, do you already need to be pushing that level down, or are you structured to do that? Because I think that the piece of marketing that's going to really stand out long term, because we're about to get flooded. We're already getting flooded with a bunch of content, bunch of video content, bunch of creative. Like all of a sudden, we're in a world that was already flooded in content. We're about to just turn it up. So in all of that, I believe what's actually going to stand out long term is authenticity, unique ideas, something that you haven't quite thought of before. And in that stuff, I think that's where clients are going to pay more. I think that's where the value is going to be. And I think it's going to be really hard, at least where AI is right now, to have AI do that. So I guess it kind of depends on what that role is doing now. And if you've already got a role where you're like, man, I could see the short path of how that person gets, turned into AI, you probably have some thinking about, okay, well, what's special about what your agency is doing and how do you put a box around that? And if you're worried that nothing is what you're doing is special, this is a good time to start getting special.
Right. So what are your top three goals for this year?
As it relates to AI, I think our top three goals are: one, we're in a very experimental try things. So I think one is, just being open to new tools, new plugins, new processes. I think as agencies, we get really dialed into a process we like and then we execute it a bunch. For us, I think we're in this like, okay, but stuff's changing all the time. So let's, even if you tried Bard 2 weeks ago, try it again, right? Like, because it's all evolving so quickly. So I think there's that. I think our next goal is to be good ambassadors to our client of just communicating what's going on. There's no way we can possibly synthesize everything that's happening, even in digital marketing AI. But the chances that we're ahead of it compared to our clients is pretty high. So I think a big part too is turning around and communicating and helping them understand and helping them get through. I mean, I would say that everybody's going to get through an existential crisis this year around AI at some point. Our job is to kind of help our clients through that. And then 3, our biggest goal is really what we're focused on right now is what we're calling our AI assisted content development process, where we're developing great high quality content. We're using AI to do that to speed it up, but we're keeping humans involved in the loop and exactly how we do that so that the content is original, high quality, on brand, but takes us less time to develop.
Love it. Where can we find out more about you, Nat?
Best thing to do is check out our website, www.v9, so V the letter, 9 the number, digital.com. Or you can find me on LinkedIn. My LinkedIn profile name is Optimization, so that's pretty easy to go find.
There you go. And I'm Charles Cormier. That was another CEO Wisdom podcast.com.